Welcome to the Maura Sweeney Podcast. Maura is an international speaker and the trademark ambassador of happiness with a passion for personal responsibility. She weaves insightful questions with personal stories to challenge your mindsets and empower your best and happiest self from the inside out. Here's Maura with today's podcast for you.
Are you living without peace? Well, if you're on a path to living happy from the inside out, today's podcast is for you. Are you living apart from peace? Are you without peace? We live in a society today that promotes so many things, but peace is not one of them. I bring up today's podcast because now, more than ever, we're in an era of disclosure, where hidden things are being revealed. I felt this way decades ago, but I see it ramping up. I'm sure you'll agree with social media, the way news instantly travels, the way people capture information, expose old photographs, have access to all kinds of documents and newspaper articles and videos and other things that in an instant, our secrets can be opened up to the light of day. It can be a very daunting and sometimes a frightening thought. I mention this because many of us in society, the way we're all designed to focus in, are on things like money. Oh, let me go after money. Or power. Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Or celebrity. Let me go pursue these things. How about this one? How about immediate gratification? Without thinking about the toll and the potential loss of peace some of these pursuits in extraneous values could take us to, and how many ways they could really undermine our soul and our rest and our ability to feel like we are floating on that proverbial river. Today, I want to bring to you a story about my own childhood and how I had my own peace undermined and how it disturbed me for years. It's just my story, as all of these podcasts are, but it will give you an idea as to one of many ways that peace can be removed from us. In my case, this story goes back to when I was around 8 or 9 years old. We had a great tragedy in our family when my paternal grandmother was returning home from work in New York City. She got off her bus, and as she would have to do each night, she would cross a highway to get to her car to drive home. Well, one night she never made it. She got off the bus, but she was clipped and dragged by an unexpected motorcyclist who brought her body many, many feet down the road, and she was killed instantly. Not, of course, without being badly banged up. I remember being at dinner one night with my immediate family when a phone call came and we learned this tragedy. It was shocking, totally unexpected. We ran up to my grandmother's house as I guess the police were dealing with the details. Now, you would think that a family would be in tremendous shock and they would be all focused on the loss of someone in the family. But what transpired was something completely different, at least in my mind. It might have been a period of 3 days between when my grandmother was hit by the motorcyclist and when she actually went to the funeral, or when she was put out for the funeral. But one of those days, my family was back at my grandmother's house, my late grandmother's house. We were sitting at the kitchen table. Others had left the room. My mother was to my right, and she reached out her arm to take me by my lower arm, whispered into my ear, and she said, "Maura, go upstairs to Grandmom's room and take her ring, or get her ring." And I remember when my mother said that to me, I was so shocked. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we just lost a woman. Are you telling me I need to take something? Now, I didn't say it outwardly to her because I was always brought up to respect authority, to not question authority, and actually in many ways to fear authority. I might have quietly suggested that she go up and get the ring herself. But whether I did or I didn't, I dutifully went up to my grandmother's room, and on her bureau, she always kept a little area where she kept her jewelry. And when I got up there and I realized her diamond engagement ring was not there on the bureau, I breathed such a sigh of relief. I came back down the hallway, down the stairs, and was able to tell my mother her ring was not there. So my mother said to me, well, whatever is there, I want you to go and get it. Again, I felt sick, but I followed suit and I went upstairs and I took yet another ring of my grandmother's. I had to remember she would wear it, often enough. My mother took it. She had it resized. I would wear it when I was a young person, and I never felt good about it. In fact, I felt sickened by it. It was like, oh, awful. And as I got older, I stopped wearing the ring. I didn't sell it. I didn't get rid of it. I frankly didn't know what to do with it. But occasionally when I would open up and I would see my own jewelry, I would look at that ring, and it was just a bad reminder for me. It wasn't until many years later that I woke up one morning with a thought, and I was so happy for the thought. I ended up going to a jewelry store, and I asked the owners if I could have one of their boxes, one of their pretty ring boxes, and they gave it to me. It was very, very pretty, and I entered into the box this ring that I had had from when I was 8 or 9 years old. I wrapped it up, put it in the mail with some insurance, and I mailed it to my aunt, who at the time that my grandmother passed away was not married and had no children of her own. But at this point, she had a growing daughter. Maybe her daughter was in college at the time, I'm not sure. And I included a little note, and I said, I was looking at this morning. I've had it for many years, and I'm thinking that your daughter, who never met her late grandmother, would appreciate having this as her own. That was all I said. I didn't tell the long story, but I can tell you that as that went into the post office box, I was so relieved, so happy that there was actually this idea that came to mind, not only to return the ring to someone who probably would have done better with it, but also to make good on something that I felt was bad from the past. That if at any level, maybe it was a nice blessing. That happened to have been my story. It's a small story. You may think, oh, Maura, I could come up with ones that are so much worse. I'm sure you could, and I'm sure I could come up with some that are so much worse, but this is the one that came to mind today. We can, in our society, find ourselves being so far away from peace because we have said things we didn't want to say. We've done things we didn't want to do. We have pursued things that maybe we thought were so important that maybe were going to make us feel better or more important as individuals, only to discover after it was done that we felt less than, and that the very thing we should have been valuing, our peace, had been somehow taken from us. Today, I want to offer you 2 things before closing this podcast. The first is you can write to me, Maura, at mauraforyou.com. Ask me for a free copy of my values book. I can send you a PDF. Like everything else, this book is filled with several stories, personal stories. And I call the book Values because my favorite value happens to be truth. And in it, I know that as you read, you may find the encouragement and perhaps even the inspiration you need to undo some of the things in your own life that have cost you and diminished your peace. The second thing I want to offer is this. You can also write to me, Maura, at mauraforyou.com, and ask for a consulting session. I do consulting periodically, and if there's something that's been disturbing you that you would like to talk about and possibly see if there's a way that you can begin to reclaim and regain your peace, I'll be happy to speak with you. So until the next time, this is Maura for you, inviting you to live happy from the inside out. Bye-bye.
For more insights on living happy from the inside out, subscribe to this podcast. To learn more about Maura, visit her MauraForYou.com website, where you'll find videos, blogs, books, and the Foundations of Happiness self-study e-course. Maura, 4, letter U.com, where Maura is always for you.